Now move into the second division and see how Bristol Rovers performed against Wrexham at the Racecourse ground. Wrexham began the day in 13th place and needing a win if they were to keep alive their slim chance of making the promotion playoffs. Rovers, still without their injured top scorer Marcus Stewart, kept the side which beat Rotherham in midweek. Lee Madison stayed at left-back in preference to Andy Gurney, who just served a one-match suspension. Goalkeeper Andy Collett, who joined the club from Middlesbrough just before the transfer deadline, was on the bench. We join commentator Jed Pittman in the first half.
Parkin's clearance and a bit of pushing and shoving there by Barry Jones on Paul Miller will lead to a free kick for Rovers. About 25 yards or so out, and Skinner looks favourite possibly to take this free kick for the visitors. Andy Tilson lining up too, so too in fact Madison. They've only one from three here. It looks like it'll be Tilson. Drives it against the wall, and the eventual shot coming in from Madison, but somewhat wasted by Rovers, and a comfortable save in the end for Andy Marriott. Marriott, the former Nottingham Forest keeper. Rovers clear through Skinner, looking for Miller, but he'll be beaten to it by Barry Hunter. Hunter's clearance, though, taking a good old ricochet into the path of Brian Hughes. A bit of pushing and shoving now by Bennett, although an experienced striker doesn't agree too much with the decision. Uriah Rennie, the referee from Sheffield, getting one or two opinions from Gary Bennett. A free kick taken by Parkin. Nice flick on by Sterling. Taylor's there too. Will be cleared now by Hughes to Durkin. Durkin with the ball, and Bennett is through here. First good opportunity of the game, and Parkin pulls off a good save before David Pritchard comes across to clear. And the ball from Durkin, in fact, flicked on by Madison, I think it was, and that freed Bennett through the middle, and Parkin, helped by Pritchard, clearing the ball away for Rovers. Pritchard with the kick. Taylor with the flick on. Still Rovers have it with Archer. Taylor, unable to get a head onto it at all in the end. What a bad miss that possibly by Taylor, who just didn't get off the ground at all. Rovers still have it with Sterling. Deep cross coming in. White ball here for Skinner, and now for Taylor, and an unbelievable miss for Gareth Taylor this time. Well, I was slightly critical that he didn't get his head on the ball just a moment ago. He certainly should have done better with this effort though. The looping high ball inside the penalty area, difficult for Marriott to get anything on it at all. Skinner had the first effort that he didn't strike particularly well. A good deal better than Taylor though, who shinned the ball wide. Rovers certainly dominating territorially so far, but unable to turn that advantage into goals as yet. Bennett dispossessed, and dispossessed well by Skinner, who finds Sterling. Pritchard's ball, Browning in space, so too Skinner here, the ball finding him too, and Archer has put Rovers ahead just before the half-time break, and they've certainly deserved it. On from Browning, and Skinner was in oodles of space. Miscontrolled to start with, still got the ball across to Archer, who beat Durkin to the ball, much to the anger of his goalkeeper Marriott. Clark. Defending to do for Rovers, no doubt, as Wrexham will search for the equaliser and have this free kick here right on the edge of the penalty area. And Bennett, the man who's been pushed according to the referee. Connolly will take it. It strikes the post! So close to the equaliser for Wrexham. And Brian Parkin just stood on his goal line, mesmerised and Paul McKenna by the curling free kick taken by Carl Connolly. Beautifully struck free kick over the top of the wall. One fancies that Parkin thought it was going wide, happy to see it strike the post. Bennett. Watkin. Scott Williams to Darren Brace. Watkin with the flick on. Here's Hughes. 1-1. Hughes has scored the equalising goal just as Wrexham had hit the post a few moments ago. And now they threaten to end Rovers' brilliant run of 4 wins on the run. Hughes through here from Watkins. Beautiful flick. He doesn't miss from that kind of range, giving Parking no chance at all. Crosses from Pritchard. Is Browning. Oh, claims for handball surely there against Scott Williams. Well, the referee, Rennie, says no, and play continues. But questions will certainly be asked about this. The cross was a deep one. It was missed by everybody in the middle, and it fell to Marcus Browning. And a clear handball by Scott Williams prevented the ball from perhaps going in the back of the goal. Time running out for either side to get a victory here. There's goal scorer Hughes, but he watched well all the way by Pritchard. Here's Williams. Shot from him. Parking does well. Williams involved in that alleged handball incident a few moments ago. Almost then really rubbing salt in Rovers' wound by scoring. Parking, though, with a decent save. Here's Hughes. Supported by Hardy. Rovers desperate to get rid. A point they'd certainly be satisfied with now, with Wrexham finishing the stronger of the two teams. Here's Brace making a good run. Hughes. Good cross too. Good defending though that from Andy Tilson. There's a diving attempt to get onto the end of it from the substitute Steve Watkin. Beautifully watched all the way by Tilson, who headed it out for a corner. Attempts by Parkin. And that is the final whistle. Uriah Rennie blows the whistle. A controversial referee, certainly with that incident towards the end of the game. Hughes, the goal scorer there for Wrexham, giving the equalising goal in the second half after Archer put Rovers ahead. But much talk afterwards will be about the handball that wasn't, according to the referee.
Well, Mark, the Rovers bandwagon keeps on rolling.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll be slightly disappointed, Will, because the fact that they took the lead away from home, and I think once you take the lead away from home, it normally says that you've worn down the opposition, you've taken the lead, you've had a look at them. But it's a good goal as well that they scored. Skinner's cross, and Archer just got in there, hasn't it? It looks like made a funny contact with the ball, but it doesn't really matter. It goes in the back of the net. That'd be a bonus for John Ward, the fact of his wide players nicking in and scoring goals for him. Here we have it again. I think it is a cross. I'm not sure that Skinner's shooting from there. It's come across, and Lee Archer did very well because he made the fullback, put him under pressure, and he's got the final touch to it.
But Wrexham came back into it and scored a pretty good goal themselves.
They did score a good goal, and Parkin had a warning just before with a free kick that hit the post, when he was nowhere near it, from Connolly. And this is all about the new rule, really, because the Rovers defender can't touch Hughes as he gets into the box. A good flick on. It's a super finish by him as well. He can't touch him because it's a penalty. He could even get sent off. It's Skinner involved again, and so he's got all the time in the world. Size up the situation, but a very good finish.
Does put it away well, doesn't he? We saw an incident in the City game which was somewhat controversial. We have another incident here, but perhaps this handball not quite as blatant.
I think the ball gets played. It gets played back. It's a long, deep cross, isn't it? That gets partially cleared. I think what happens then is that the defender goes towards a ball. I think if anything it's a case of ball to hand, Will, more than hand to ball. And the defender recovers and the ball gets played in. First reaction, go and close him down, and really he's just put himself in the way, and he'll certainly never get that away from home anyway. But at home the crowd would have shouted for it and put the referee under a bit more pressure.
Well, Rovers are at home in midweek. They take on a very difficult game, actually. It's Birmingham. How do you see that
Birmingham.
one?
Well, I think the good thing about it, they're going to bring a lot of supporters with them. Birmingham, great atmosphere, possibly Rovers' biggest crowd of the season, and the way Rovers playing, they shouldn't fear anybody, because Birmingham at the moment are just hiccuping a bit.
Well, it's interesting stuff. And that's all, I'm afraid, for this weekend. There's no West match next Sunday. Instead, HTV will have live coverage of the Coca-Cola Cup final. Liverpool against Bolton Wanderers. But we do have a West match on Wednesday evening. That's at 20 to 11, an hour-long programme with extended highlights of that evening's big promotion match. Until then, it's goodbye from Mark and the rest of the West match team. Goodbye.